One of Call of Duty League's biggest stars, its 2020 champion, Huke, admitted in a video on Wednesday to using Adderall while competing. Adderall has long been a topic of discussion in esports because of the perception that using it can give you an edge over the competition. But it's 2021 and it's still a problem. So let's talk about Adderall. What if reality is all a twisted dream of some sleeping god? I don't know what that would mean actually, but it probably wouldn't stop the fact that I have to tell you to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so that the next time one of these dark reveries enters my brain and becomes content, you'll know immediately. Do it. So this latest discussion around Adderall began after Kyler Huke Garland, a current member of the LA Thieves CDL team, posted a video to YouTube called My Story on Wednesday, June 9th. The video is long and covers a bunch of topics, but one of the things people immediately focused on was the admission by Huke that he had been using Adderall during the 2020 Call of Duty League Championship.
But basically, I won champs and I didn't really feel good on the inside. Of course, I was very grateful for winning. It showed that we worked hard and, we got the win. I felt good about that. But those couple days afterwards, I didn't feel good, and it was mainly because of one thing. I, at the time, was taking Adderall.
Obviously, coming forward and talking about something like this isn't easy. This is someone sharing their dependence on a drug with the rest of the world.
I saw even what it was doing to my personality over time. Like, I was becoming more angry to the people I love, and even sometimes sad. And I didn't like that, honestly. And I want to change for myself. So, that whole off season, that's what I focused on.
Huke also later said that a narrative had developed where after he started making healthy changes to cut Adderall out of his life, they thought he was on psychedelics. He also claimed that this psychedelic narrative is part of the reason that the decision was made to bench him on Dallas Empire.
To find out from my friend that people have been saying that, and they're at parties calling me crazy Kyler. For that to be a thing and for pros to actually believe that, I just want to shed light on that. That's not true at all. I'm okay. I'm more than okay. I'm ready to play, actually. By the way, if anyone wants me, I'm here. Nah, I'm just playing.
Shortly after Huke's video, other pros and esports personalities started posting about the drug. Other COD pros like Slasher and Aqua chimed in as well, noting that Adderall was pervasive, but it didn't need to be. Mox, a player currently playing with the Los Angeles Guerrillas Academy team, said he was 3 months sober from Adderall and had become dependent on it in the past. It's notable that the CDL rules prohibit the unauthorized use of prescription drugs. But I really doubt any of these players will face consequences for coming forward, and it's my opinion at least that they shouldn't. If anything, they've done Activision Blizzard a favor by forcing them to address this issue. And the community is responding positively to it, with pros like Censor and Dallas Empire owner Hastro praising Huke's decision to talk about this, and honestly, it's traditionally been a very taboo topic. Hastro also said that Huke being benched had nothing to do with the drug narrative, and that the reasons were all gameplay related.
Just wanted to come out and address some of the talk in the Call of Duty community today. Our former player Kyler Huke came out and made a statement, regarding his history and some of the things that have been going on with him lately. And so we also wanted to come out and make a little video and say that we're really proud of Kyler for coming out and making the video that he did.
Now, let's step back a bit and talk about the drug itself and its history within esports. Everyone's heard of Adderall because it's one of the most commonly prescribed drugs to treat ADHD, which, if you don't know, stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Adderall is essentially a prescription amphetamine. It's a stimulant that people take to help them focus, among other things. But nowadays, Adderall use is widespread, and it's common to hear about students using it to help them study, which has led to an increase in the drug's popularity. And in athletics, it's basically a banned substance everywhere unless you have a valid prescription. And if you didn't know, hell, I didn't know this before working on this script, but It's illegal to take prescription drugs that weren't prescribed to you in many places, including the US. These drugs are prescribed due to medical need. So just because the drug was prescribed to someone else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be safe for everyone to use. In esports, the drug has a long history in different games, and one of the pivotal moments for it came in 2015, when CSGO player Semphis admitted to Launders in an interview that, yeah, he and the rest of C9 were on Adderall when they played at ESEA LAN.
I don't even care. We were all on Adderall. Like, really? I don't even give a f***. Like, it was pretty obvious, like, if you listen to the comms, like, I don't know, people can hate it or whatever.
Everyone does Adderall at ESEA LAN, right?
Yeah.
Shortly after this, ESL announced they would begin drug testing for Adderall. The Esports Integrity Commission got involved, and it was generally accepted that Adderall would no longer be a part of CSGO competition, unless, of course, you have a valid prescription. Then, in 2018, ESIC Integrity Commissioner Ian Smith said that while they had tested hundreds of players, they had not had a single test come back positive for Adderall. And even more interestingly, the number of players who had prescriptions for Adderall was still way below the national average.
We started testing in March of 2016 at IEM Katowice. Since then, we've tested over 260 players, primarily Tier 1 Counter-Strike players, but also across a range of other games. Many players have been tested many times, particularly in Tier 1 Counter-Strike. And throughout that entire process, not only have we not had a single positive, but also we've surveyed about 400 players, and the results of those surveys are that they raise absolutely no concern about doping in the top levels of professional esport.
But while CSGO was working to get rid of Adderall, other esports leagues seemed less concerned. A 2018 interview conducted by Shaq News with then Commissioner of the Overwatch League, Nate Nanzer, reaffirmed the league's stance on Adderall, that there was no evidence it would make you better at Overwatch. So while illegal conduct and performance-enhancing drugs were prohibited by the rules, there would be no testing effort. Nanzer's reply then raises an interesting question. Does Adderall actually improve a player's performance? Clearly, there were and are a lot of players that believe it does. But the science is a little less conclusive. Studies have been completed about the drug's role in traditional athletics and in academia, but I wasn't able to find one specifically about esports performance. In an article in PC Gamer from December 2020, psychiatrist William Dodson pointed out that players that see an improvement may simply be experiencing a placebo effect, or even potentially have undiagnosed ADHD. But whether Adderall actually helps players reach the peak of their potential, as some people have put it, one thing seems clear. Developing an addiction to Adderall can have serious negative side effects. Besides things like restlessness and dry mouth, Adderall can cause increased paranoia, aggression, and hostility, to say nothing of the various rare physical side effects. And when you start taking even more than the usual dose to try to get the same effects, things can get ugly. In my opinion, that's as good a reason as any to test for it in every esport, to protect the players who might feel pressured to try it to bring their performance to some higher level. The thing is, esports continues to grow, and with it, we're seeing increased potential to make money through competing. Even if Adderall had zero positive effect on players, there are clearly people out there who are willing to try it in order to gain that competitive edge. And if that initial attempt becomes an addiction, it can have destructive consequences. If all leagues tested for it, then simply trying Adderall and then maybe getting addicted to it wouldn't be an option at all. Whether it's performance enhancing or not is kind of not the point. And listen, I'm one of the last people that's going to advocate for increased drug testing because, well, maybe you caught my joke in the last video I did. And please don't call it the after-plant meta. We already have a term for it, and after-plant just sounds really weird. In any case, my experience with the after-plant meta is ordering onion rings at 1 a.m. Shout out to my local burger place. Come on, It's legal here. Get off my back. If you live somewhere that isn't Canada, you might be surprised to find out that here it's pretty rare to test new employees for drugs. In fact, you basically need to be doing a job where safety is paramount and like habitual drug use would cause harm to someone else. I've literally never been tested for drugs by an employer. But we're not talking about my job at Canadian bookstore chain Chapters in 2007. We're talking about a competition where the rules rightfully prohibit the use of substances that could affect the integrity of the games that are being played. Let's agree to protect both the competition and the bodies and minds of young aspiring pros and test for these substances. That should include the Overwatch League and the Call of Duty League. Hook's video is a reminder that there's a lot to fix in esports. But maybe with his video, these leagues will finally realize that there are pro players suffering under the stress of competition, and maybe, just maybe, they'll do something about it. I was like, is he Dutch? Seems like Dutch, maybe. But I don't think he's Dutch. He's American. He's not Dutch. And you know what they say? If you're not Dutch, you're not much. You know what they say? If you're not Dutch, get